What's up, guys? It's Nick Johnson, your favorite sports YouTube journalist here, back in here with one more video. And today I'm going to do something different. Today I'm just, with the start of the NBA preseason as of yesterday, I'm going to be breaking down on like certain teams that had like high expectations or basically kind of fallen off or tailed off as of last season based on the fallout of what happened. So I'm going to be talking about like a select few instead of like the rebuilding ones that are still like in terrible situations. So those I'm gonna leave out, but the few select teams I'm gonna mention in the ensuing videos since the preseason has started, I'm gonna be focusing on them. For example, in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and what to expect from them this coming season, based on the fallout of last season and the off season and what we're going to expect from them this coming season. Now, as we all know clearly, just exactly 2 months ago, since today is the 12th, exactly 2 months ago, the Los Angeles Lakers were on top of the world as NBA champions. Now, this is the first time in 10 years that they were crowned NBA champions, and this is the 17th overall in franchise history, which also ties the record for most NBA titles in history, joining them with their historic rival Boston Celtics for the most ever. Since the calendar turned to the 1980s, the Lakers have basically outdone the Celtics in terms of championship wins. So it's amazing how one fortune can change for one franchise and the other can face demise in the other. That's a story for another time. So for the Lakers, with LeBron James and Anthony Davis in tow and signing their respective extensions to stay with the Lakers beyond the season and the roster that they have in place, they're primed for a repeat. Now, off of the heels of reigning NBA champions, the Lakers where the main focus was figuring out what the future would be for Anthony Davis, because he was going to he declined his player option as expected to become a free agent this summer. This winter. As of now, since the whole pandemic pushed everything back. Um, but he was going to come back to the Lakers anyway because he gave out a hint that they were going to run it back next season. So as of today, Anthony Davis signed a 5-year supermax extension worth $190 million to stay with the Lakers, while LeBron James, the king himself, signed a 2-year extension worth $85 million to stay with the Lakers beyond this coming season, because he also had a player option in his contract that he can easily decline after this coming season to become a free agent, but the Lakers took care of that. So the anchors of the reigning NBA champions will stay with the Lakers beyond this coming season. But despite all that, after all that, the Lakers, we all remember last summer for the Lakers, mainly because of them waiting on the decision of Kawhi Leonard to see if they were going to join the Lakers or the Clippers, in which he ended up joining the Clippers anyway. The Lakers did not address their need for depth to round out the rest of the team, because they were so busy trying to create this formidable big three to help them carry out and win more titles when it really wasn't necessary to begin with. They missed out on their chances to acquire the depth that they needed to complete a well-rounded team. So they missed out on the likes of Derrick Rose and company to help fill out the rest of the roster. You already have LeBron and Anthony Davis in tow. You could have just filled out the rest of the roster. But this past offseason, pretty much they learned the lesson from that. So what that means is they went out and addressed their depth-needed issues and fill out certain holes in certain positions that can help them have solidified their chances of repeating as back-to-back champions. As we all remember, before the draft, we traded away a first-round pick and Danny Green, who was bound to leave anyway because of the way he was getting ostracized because of his play, to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for point guard Dennis Schroeder, who was the runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year for last season. And the last 2 years in Oklahoma City, he was backing up the likes of Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, and he balled out significantly. And especially in the playoffs where he really played basketball, like literally played basketball, averaging what was it, like 25 to 30 points. He was amazing. Hence the reason why the Lakers took a chance on him. And we needed really help at the point guard position due to the fact that Rajon Rondo signed a 2-year contract with the Atlanta Hawks, so he'll be backing up Trae Young. We really needed to help solidify that position. And we jumped on it as best we could to get Dennis Schroeder, and this is a really great pickup. And for Schroeder, who's likely going to be a starting point guard by the start of the season, he's a really great shot creator. He can create his own shot. He's a fantastic 3-point shooter. Has that mid-range game. He can basically take the load off of LeBron and Anthony Davis, who are known for being shot creators themselves, arguably among the best. Schroeder can help take the load off of those guys, and he can be a facilitator as well, even though, like, in terms of being the offensive floor general, LeBron has that mold, but he can take the load. But Schroeder can take the load off of LeBron in terms of creating their shots, So they don't have to. So teams won't be focusing so much on LeBron and AD like 100% of the time, because you also got like guys like Dennis Schroeder to fit the mold. So this is a really great pickup. And then you follow up with like a minor move with signing Wesley Matthews to a 1-year deal, because many people think he might be Danny Green 2.0, but he's a really great defender. He showed that with the Milwaukee Bucks last season. So we signed him to fill out the roster depth on a 1-year contract. We brought back Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on a 3-year extension. Who was becoming a really good 3-point shooter, even though it wasn't that type of a case last season, especially in the playoffs. He still provides that. So I'm glad we got KCP back. But then you went one step further by signing one of your town rivals away from their club. And speaking of 6 Man of the Year, this is where we get into it. This is when they signed Montrezl Harrell. Clipper center Montrezl Harrell signed a 2-year deal worth $19 million to join the Lakers. Of course, many people, as for the Lakers fans in general, are really divided about this signing, because you know how he was talking so much shit. As many Clippers players were on that roster, especially Paul George, especially Patrick Beverley and Marcus Morris Sr. They were talking all sorts of shit. And even Montrez, even all over social media. And of course, that was expected because on paper, the Clippers had the best roster in terms of talent, and they were deep. But they just couldn't pull it off. Of course, they blew a 3-1 series lead against the Denver Nuggets and lost the series entirely in the second round, ruining what would have been a great battle for LA Western Conference final matchup between the two top LA teams. But, shit happens. So, and of course, the same Montrezl Harrell who called Luka Doncic a bitch-ass white boy. Excuse my language, but that's exactly what he called him, a bitch-ass white boy, in their first-round matchup against the Dallas Mavericks. And Luka went off in that series. Now, if KP would have never got hurt, Kristaps Porzingis, Luka's fellow co-star, the Clippers would have lost in the first round to the Mavericks. And that would have been even more upsetting. So, yeah. But yeah, Montrezl Harrell, a center, averaged 18 points a game, 7 rebounds for the LA Clippers in the regular season. And he ends up winning 6 Man of the Year as a result, coming off the bench. And but in the playoffs, he was an absolute dud. He was trash, averaging 13 points, 2 rebounds, and he's a big man, but not that traditional center, because the Clippers were asking him to be that Superman, that defensive anchor, that best big man in the league, when he really wasn't. He wasn't really all of that, you know what I'm saying? In the playoffs, he got exposed by Nikola Jokic. Hands down. Hands down. Now, they signed him to a 2-year deal. I mean, here with the Lakers, he doesn't need to do all that, because we already have bigs. You already have Anthony Davis and another certain individual, which I'm going to get into right now. We already have bigs, and they can do their jobs and play out their positions. All Montrezl needs to do is maintain that same level of energy, that intensity that he provided with the Clippers. That's all he needs to do, because we already have the bigs that can do all the dirty work, And speaking of which, speaking of bigs, we signed Marc Gasol, the ageless wonder Marc Gasol, to a 2-year contract with the veterans minimum. And to make room for him, we had to trade away the inconsistent JaVale McGee to Philadelphia to make more room for him. Or was it Oklahoma City? I don't know. But we had to trade him away to make room for Gasol and also to fill the void on losing Dwight Howard to the Philadelphia 76ers. So, which I believe was evidence that we were not going to bring Dwight Howard back. But we made that up to bring in Marc Gasol. And of course, we all know Marc Gasol was one of the best centers in the league for about almost a whole decade. Known for being the younger brother of Pau Gasol, a Laker fan favorite and legend in our right, Pau Gasol, for the Memphis Grizzlies for a whole decade, especially a Grizzlies team in which he was paired up with fellow point guard and co-star Mike Conley. A Grizzlies team that made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals in 2013, and which was known as the grit and grind era, as we all remember. So, and of course, Gasol being a defensive player of the year and whatnot also is an NBA champion. He won it with the Toronto Raptors in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard in tow, by the way. And with the Lakers, he provides that big man stability even as an ageless wonder. He's an amazing rim protector. He's a good big post-up man, an offensive generator, and he can finish at the rim. You know? He's that complete big man that the Lakers needed since we lost Dwight Howard in free agency. And it's kind of ironic. He went from one Gasol brother to another. As we all remember, Pau Gasol was a fellow co-star for Kobe Bryant when he and Kobe helped the Lakers reach 3 straight NBA Finals and winning back-to-back titles as a result. And now, with Marc Gasol, he provides that same stability, even up there in age. So, I'm looking forward to see exactly what Marc Gasol can bring to the table with the LA Lakers, as much as his brother did back in the day. So, I'm really looking forward to that. Of course, we're probably not going to get the same Marc Gasol as he was in Memphis and when he got to Toronto. But he provides that great stability in a big man position and be that rim protector that he has been known for. That defensive anchor, that defensive monster. So with that being said, the Lakers have re-signed 2 of their biggest stars and have addressed their needs at depth. And of course, they addressed their need at point guard and solidified their depth pieces and added rotational pieces as a result. So I'm hoping they trade away Kyle Kuzma because right now I can't stand him. I cannot stand him. Yeah, he was good at one point, but I mean, yeah, he was put into a role I wasn't familiar with since Anthony Davis came about. But now since it's all clear, he just is not the right guy for us. I'll be glad when we use him as trade bait to get someone fresh, maybe a Derrick Rose or something. Hopefully, I still pray for that to happen. But I don't know. But still, Kyle Kuzma, he needs to go. But other than that, I'm excited to see what my LA Lakers are going to bring to the table. Because 2 of their biggest stars are going to be committing to this team beyond this coming season. And you addressed your depth need to solidify yourself as an all-well-rounded team. And because of the depth pieces that you added with Marc Gasol, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, and I would say Wesley Matthews, but I don't know what he'll look like. Maybe he'll be Danny Green 2.0, maybe not. But with that being said, the Lakers have pretty much solidified themselves for their chances to repeat as NBA champions. So I'm looking forward to see how that goes. And I'm excited that the NBA season is back. And hopefully, stuff might change. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to hit that bell com button where you get my notifications on when I'm going to upload my next videos. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think the Lakers have a shot of repeating as champions? Do you think other teams might have a better shot? Let me know what you guys think. And with that being said, I'm Nick Johnson, your favorite sports YouTube journalist, and I'm out. Peace.